Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well and are keeping yourself safe in this pandemic. Today we are going to discuss the first chapter of your Class 10 Science textbook, Chemical Reactions and Equations. Brought to you by Korabi Dutta. So let's go on. Before starting the chapter, let's have an overview of what we are going to study in this chapter. First, we shall learn about the changes. You all might have known about physical and chemical changes from junior classes. Then we shall get to know about chemical reactions and equations and learn how to balance them. Finally, we shall discuss the types of chemical reactions and terms like rancidity and corrosion. Don't overwhelm by the terminology now, you shall be familiar with it by the end of the chapter. Changes. We all see different changes in our daily lives. Ice changes to water. Candle melts on burning to wax. These changes around us can be broadly classified into chemical change and physical change. Chemical changes are those in which one or more new substances with new physical and chemical properties are formed. For example, iron reacts with copper sulfate to produce two new substances, copper and ferrous sulfate, but physical changes are those changes in which only physical state like color, shape or orientation is changed and no new substance is formed. For example, change of water into vapor. There are certain observations which help to determine a chemical change. These 5 observations help us to differentiate a chemical change from a physical change. 1. Evolution or production of gas. 2. Change in temperature. 3. Formation of precipitate. 4. Change in color. 5. Change in state. But remember that only change of state might not be a chemical change, so we have to look for other observation too if such a case arises. Since you have learnt of change, let us now move the journey towards chemical reactions. Now the first question is, what is a chemical reaction? Chemical reactions are chemical changes in which reactants transform into products by making or breaking of bonds, or both, between different atoms. There are 5 different types of chemical reactions. 1. Combination reaction. 2. Decomposition reaction. 3. Displacement reaction. 4. Double displacement reaction. 5. Redox reaction. Remember that there are some more, but we shall primarily focus only on these 5 reactions. Now you have known about chemical reactions, so we shall proceed on balancing chemical equations. The law that governs this balancing stuff is the law of conservation of mass, postulated by Antoine Lavoisier. The law states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed, and it is pretty easy to understand. Balanced chemical equation or reaction is one in which the number of atoms on the reactant side or the left hand of the equation is equal to the number of atoms on the product side or the right hand side. And a simple chemical equation which is not balanced is called a skeletal equation. While solving questions, you might come across chemical reactions mentioned as words in a sentence rather than chemical symbols and formulae. These are called word equations. As you can see in the example, sodium, chlorine, and sodium chloride are written in words that read sodium reacts with chlorine to form sodium chloride. Symbols, these are chemical code for an element. Most often they are the first or the first and the second letter of the element's name. Like H for hydrogen and C for carbon, etc. To make equations more meaningful, we even need to mention the state or phase of the reactants and products. This is done simply by mentioning the state in an abbreviated form inside the bracket succeeding the symbol. Symbols are: for solids we use small s. For liquids L. For gases small g or an up arrow. For aqueous solution AC. And for precipitate a down arrow. Steps for balancing a chemical reaction. We are given the skeletal reaction. H2 plus O2 produces H2O. The first thing to do is to construct boxes around the given reactants and product inside a box. We cannot change anything inside the box. Then we calculate the number of atoms on both sides. We clearly see that number of hydrogen atoms is balanced on both sides. Now we check the same for oxygen. But we have 2 atoms of oxygen on left but 1 on right. So oxygen atoms are not balanced. Since hydrogen atoms are balanced, we simply multiply both sides by 1. But in order to balance the atoms of oxygen, we multiply right side by 2. We have successfully balanced the oxygen atoms. But we can see that in order to do so we disturbed the equality of hydrogen atoms. To balance it, we have to make the number of hydrogen atom on the left to 4. So we multiply the left by 2, thus we have 4 hydrogen atoms on both sides and 2 oxygen atoms on both sides. We successfully balanced a chemical equation. We can use the same approach to balance any chemical equation. It is called the hit and trial method. Types of chemical reactions. The first type is combination reaction. The name is self-explanatory. In a combination reaction, 2 elements or 1 element and 1 compound or 2 compounds combine to give 1 single product. You have 3 examples of so given in the slide. The second type is decomposition reaction. Reaction in which a single reactant decomposes on the application of heat or light or electricity to give 2 or more products. 3 types of decomposition reaction are thermolysis, photolysis, electrolysis. We shall learn about each one in detail. Decomposition reactions which require heat is called thermolytic decomposition or thermolysis. Decomposition reactions which require light is called photolytic decomposition or photolysis. This is used in black and white photography. Decomposition reactions which require electricity is called electrolytic decomposition or electrolysis. Displacement reaction is a reaction in which more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its compound or solution. In the given example, zinc being more reactive displaces sulfate ion from less reactive copper. Copper being more reactive displaces silver from its salt. Double displacement reaction is a reaction in which an exchange of ions between the reactants takes place to give new products. Example is down in the slide. Now we are going to study a new form of reaction. Redox reactions. The word redox is the combination of 2 words reduction and oxidation. Reduction reaction, reaction in which a substance gains hydrogen or loses oxygen. Oxidation reaction, reaction in which a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen. Redox reaction is a type of reaction in which reduction, as well as oxidation reaction, occurs. Some common redox reaction examples are here. Some other terms related to redox reactions are oxidizing agent, a substance that oxidizes another substance and self gets reduced. In the given equation, fluorine is the oxidizing agent. Reducing agent, a substance that reduces another substance and self gets oxidized. Carbon is the reducing agent. Some other types of reactions are precipitation reaction. An insoluble compound called precipitate forms when 2 solutions containing soluble salts are combined. Example is given in the slide. Exothermic reaction. Reaction in which heat is released. Endothermic reaction. Reaction in which heat is required to form products. Corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion is gradual deterioration of a material, usually a metal, by the action of moisture, air or chemicals in the surrounding environment. Different types of corrosion are rusting, corrosion of copper, tarnish of silver. Rancidity, it refers to the oxidation of fats and oils in food that is kept for a long time. It gives foul smell and bad taste to food. Rancid food causes stomach infection on consumption. Prevention methods for rancidity are use of airtight containers, packing with nitrogen, refrigeration, use of synthetic antioxidants. We have completed the first chapter of your science textbook. Hope you did understand the chapter. If not, you can repeat the video. Remember to read your textbook thoroughly. If you have any doubt or query, you can send it in your English WhatsApp group or the Edmodo English class. Thank you.